Welcome to IndiaInTract.com and Chuleka.com. Today's recipe is Mamsam Kora. Myself, Levin Johnson, and I've got Arjun here to assist myself. We're going to start with Mamsam Kora, which is literally means, Mamsam means lamb and Kora is gravy or curry. This recipe is very simple, comes from Hyderabad. We're going to run through the ingredients that needs to go into it. We got mutton here around half a kilo, but we're just going to be using 200 grams, just enough for 4 portions. Grated coconut, cashew nuts, cardamom, cinnamon sticks, cloves, saunf, chopped onions, ginger garlic paste, turmeric powder, chili powder, coriander powder, chopped tomatoes, freshly chopped coriander, refined oil, and salt for seasoning. The easiest way you can make a really nice fine paste is soak both of them in warm water for say 15 to 20 minutes and make a really nice fine paste of these two. Just make sure that the pan's nice warm before you start off. Oil, probably like around 40-50 ml of oil for 200 grams of lamb. Wait till you could just see the flame fumes a bit. You could start off with cardamom, just couple of cloves. You just break in the cinnamon sticks. Half a teaspoon of saunf. The saunf gets a little brown color on it. To control the temperature, you could just add in the chopped onions. That's around 50 to 60 grams of chopped onions to 200 grams of mutton. Halfway through, before it actually gets into a golden brown stage, you could add in the ginger garlic paste as well. Just because of the moisture content in the ginger garlic paste, just mix it up really well with the chopped onions. It's the water in the ginger garlic paste that makes the chisel movement, but you have to sweat it off until you can see the oil oozing out. Just when the onion starts to brown, is when it's ready to take the spices in. That's half a teaspoon of turmeric, 1.5 spoons of chili powder, and a spoon of coriander powder. What it does to the pan is like the spices do absorb all the oil that you could see floating, but when it cooks off, you will see that it starts to ooze back, and which is when you get to know that the spice has been cooked. This is the lamb that was being cooked in a pressure cooker for almost like 10 minutes. This is just to make sure that the lamb is nice and tender. When you do cook the mutton or the lamb in a pressure cooker, just make sure that you put in a pinch of salt and also some chili powder, just to make sure that it gets some kind of flavor. Just mix it really well with the mutton. As you could see that it's beautifully been mixed up and the spices are all cooked. You could add in the chopped tomatoes this stage. That's again around 50 grams to every 200 grams of mutton, just the ratio. You'll have to cook it until it gets mashed up. What we have done here is, like, after the spices were cooked and just mixed with the lamb, we have added in the water in which the lamb was cooked in the pressure cooker, just because we don't want to be losing all the flavors, and also to make sure the lamb is nicely, beautifully tender. And the best thing is to just pour in all of the liquid and put the lid on and just leave it for 15 minutes. What we've done here is, like, we just got the lid on just to make sure the lamb is nice and tender, and also to make sure it comes down to a paste form in here, and which way you can make sure that the ingredients are really nicely cooked and the spices are really cooked. And you can see a nice glaze coming out now. At this stage, the only 3 things that's left to add is the cashew nut and the coconut paste, half of the chopped coriander. We want to leave the remaining half for the garnishing. And we could add in some water depending on how thick or how thin you want the gravy to be. You could add in the salt at this stage as well. Scraping the sides of the pan here. You could put the lid on back again for another 15 minutes. The total preparation time for this one, if you are using a pressure cooker, would be up to half an hour to 40 minutes. That's been almost 10 minutes after we put the lid on, and as you can see, the color is gone deep red now, and the coconut and the cashew nut paste is cooked off, and it's got a nice glaze here which just shows that it's just ready to be served. Before we do that, I think I'm going to give Arjun here to taste for the seasoning. I'm sure you could see the expressions on his face. He seems to be liking it. At this stage, you can decide again how thick you want your gravy. But if you do want it for something like a chapati or a Malabar paratha, this thickness is perfectly fine. But if you do want it for a rice preparation, you could add in some more water and bring it to the consistency you need, and then season again. While we try to finish this, Arjun is going to chop up some fresh coriander here. We might need it for the garnish. Arjun is chopping up the coriander for us to garnish. Meanwhile, we're just going to pour this dish into the serving bowl. And some chopped coriander garnish. And your Mamsam Kora is ready to be served.